Good afternoon. I always like to make note of the evolutionary progress of one of these panels, and when I reach a certain point, I'm about ready to turn the page. That's just where I am. I saved this last little piece that I fashioned to put in, and let's get this, you know what I should do? Well, I better leave that on. I was going to say I'll turn my soldering iron off because I have to do the hard part now, and that's figuring out what colors to start up on this. I've got some ideas for the cross itself, but I don't have we're going to foil this piece and I'll show you the way I got that to fit in there. Yesterday I did an important video about how we keep these lines so dead on straight and how we compensate for the distance across each one of these pieces as we go across. And so I'm about ready to put this piece in, but there's a look at it from the bottom to the top, and you can start to get an idea. Let's do this. Let's get this is the rose in the center. So if you start to think about colors, and I don't have this all figured out here, I've got some ideas that might work. But anyway, and you pick up this beautiful pinkish color mixed in with this green Yakagani here. Let's get a better look at that. Look at that stuff. Oh man. That's just... who does it better? That's Yakagani. Alright, anyway, that's the border glass. And if you think about that border glass framing out this thing in the center, and then I have some glass that I think is complementary to this, although I got to look and see how much more of this I have. I might get out here and work those roses out of the flats out here in the softer colors out here. Try to take them more pale with the center of this thing being what I do the actual large rose in. I'm kind of thinking that might be the way to really do this thing a number. But anyway, I'm getting pretty excited now because I've worked real hard in this. I won't say it's mundane, but you're just in the glue chip green, glue chip green, glue chip green. Oh, for days and days to get to this point. And so I really love this design and the way I've created this Celtic knot pedestal, and then the two ribbons going out, coming up, and then flowing into that top work in the top. So if I get the colors right on this thing, I'll really have something. I'm playing around with the idea, and I don't know whether this is going to work. I have a pretty good quantity of confetti, and there's some confetti. I don't have a piece laying here right now, but there's some confetti that has streamers in it, little long, slender, little black cords. I don't want those. So what I'm thinking, if I can get it, I think I've got some confetti that toward one side of the sheet, there's not a lot going on. It's not real busy. And I'm going to try to find that section on maybe more than one sheet if I need to, because I don't need much. There's only the four, well, there's 6 pieces. 6 here. I'd put them behind this flower, and behind this flower, and right here. So I don't need a lot. If I was to come out, and it's a clear glass, whereas this has some texture in it. It has a little texture, but mainly it's the little chips of green in it. In the background behind these leaves, and in the background behind these 3 roses, I think then with the correct glass right here that surrounds or makes up the cross, if that's right, and that confetti in behind here, that might really be exceptional. And I have some idea. I don't have this figured out here, this ring. I actually think that needs to be the same color. So this and this need to be the same color. And then I'm kind of wanting, I have a really pale, nearly, I'll show you what I'm thinking here. I've got another sheet, and here we are. This isn't quite there, but we're just about, there's a tiny, or a green tint to this right here. And I'm thinking I've got enough of that that's on the sheet that's just can you see that it's translucent glass, not transparent, and there's a tiny bit of green tint to it. And I'm thinking if I was to put that green tint behind this and then come up with something for this, I don't have this figured out yet, that if I get it compatible here, then I'll really have something to go along with this flower color and this right here. So I got a lot going on here to try to figure this out. And for people that do this, that have been doing it for a long time, I'm getting up there about as long into this as anybody around. Not to say that I know as much as, you'd think after 50 years you'd know everything, but I know, I don't know that much. So compared to some people that I do know, but I've been at this a long time, and I think what I'm going with this is that anybody that does this work, well, I guess even in the short period of time, the hard part of this stuff after you get fabrication down. In other words, if you learn how to cut the glass and fabricate and put this stuff together, that's one step. But the hard part of this, after you get fabrication down, I think pretty much anybody that's really serious about this work will tell you, is color selection. And that's where you either make the piece or you break the piece. In other words, I can spend weeks to fabricate this thing, but if I don't get the color selection right, then the piece is it's marginal. It's not what it could be. And I think I don't want to do any name dropping, but there's about a half a dozen skilled lamp makers. They're all over my page. And for people that follow me, we all know who they are. As soon as I say one name, I'll forget another one or leave it out. But there's about a half dozen. And what their claim to fame is, they're all excellent fabricators. You would take nothing away from their fabrication skills. But what separates the Mount Everest of those people from the K2, the second tallest mountain, and other climbers is their skill at color selection. And I'm thinking of 2 or 3 people right now that they just hit a home run every time they go off and work on lamp. These people are all that I'm thinking of as great color selectors are all lamp people. There's about 5 or 6. And, I think and I'm not being humble in saying this, but if they were to be graded as A's, I just trying real hard to hit a B-, because it's a skill that you can develop over a period of time. But some of these people are so good at it that it's, I think, beyond a skill. It's some kind of a natural ability that they have. So that's what makes this difficult. The fabrication part, I have no qualms about the fabrication part. I can put this thing together, but I got to get the colors right. That's the hard part. So I'm going to spend some serious time, unless something just falls in my lap, serious time trying to figure out where to go. And the first place to go is the cross area itself. This part right here. That's the first place I'm going, not this. Because for me, that's the primary selection here, would be the border around the cross. And then I'll try to make everything else work in sync with that. Now, I have no doubt as to what this is the right glass for the rose. Okay, so I'm back to thumping the drum for my one piece at a time method again. And I don't get, obviously don't get anything out of people or, any reward out of people adapting this method. I'm just saying that this method really will help you get a better fit on your work. And here's a perfect example. So I'm working along here. I got this done this afternoon. This is the last piece of glue chip that's going to, well, wait, there's 2 right here. But this is the last piece of glue chip that'll go in this thing. And so all I did was fit this side here and this side here and then work the rest of it. And so you get this colossal, I don't think that's the right word, but you get this superb fit based on laying this thing in there. And you know, I see one little spot right here that wouldn't hurt that we just clean that just a hair. Okay, and let's foil this. And then maybe I wasn't anticipating this, but we'll turn this around and do the finished solder on this other side real quick. I don't want to drop this. Okay, here we are again. Let me see if I can lean over a little bit. I think the camera part of this thing is over right here. So I get it where you can look down that glass. This thing makes it so easy to spot the center of that foil. And when we get this off, I've gone on about in the last couple of videos about the importance of this. And it's all these little steps. Geez, I wish I should have found that. Needless to say, if you follow my page at all, I get a lot of responses for the videos and this and that. But there was some guy yesterday from Australia. I got quite a few followers from Australia. And he's been doing glass for 45 years. So, when somebody like that says something to you that's real positive, I think, ooh, that's a heck of a compliment. But he said, in gist, I should do a screenshot of what he said. But anyway, it was that more or less I tried to take something that was complicated and put it in a context that people with not as much experience or time in this craft could understand and work toward. And that's really what I've been trying to do, is to... Now, that foil was actually going this direction a little. See there? And I'm just going to readjust it. Okay, there you go. But what I've been trying to do is... This is certainly not a beginner project. But then again, it's not something that, you got to do this, you got to be in this craft for 15, 20 years to do either. And what I've tried to do is demystify this stuff and just get it right down to what it really is. It's just finding a particular method and working and practicing to get that down to where you're creating pretty good looking pieces. Okay, here we go again, my same old spiel, but you got to get that foil on there uniformly. And if you do that, then your bead is going to be uniform. Did I keep that plugged in? Good. I was going to say I didn't have that plugged in. Okay, so let's, here we go. Just a little bit of flux. We'll go down here. I don't need to do that soldered on the other side. You guys have seen me soldering for quite a bit. Let's go right here. Grab this iron. Sorry for all this ripping and junking around here. We want to tack this first because I don't want any movement. There we go. Okay, let's go down here. Just lift up to pull that solder, right? And we can just move this and I'll show you a little something. I did notice, actually, when I was putting this together, I'm going to set this down because I want to show you something. I did notice, I'm a nitpicker, I did notice where this curl right here did not come back up here and meet this. And so what I'll do here is I'll shave the foil down right here to where I don't have that cavity. Now, for me, that's a cavity. I don't want, there's not much of a problem here, but that's a little bit. I'm usually shooting for, not having anything. But anyway, I noticed that, if somebody else noticed it. And you notice that something else I've noticed. There's too much solder. Let's go right here. There's too much solder right there, so how are we going to just fly it that way? Oops, now I don't have enough. Okay, let's come straighten this up. Come right here. Back over here. Come right down here. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now I'm going to, you know what we could do? We can do that. I'm going to show you again the beauty of having this thing on a board. I know that I see people working, and not many people put these on a board. They just put them in the center of a work table or something and go from there. But the beauty of the board is, well, look out. The beauty of the board is we're going to turn this thing around. Instead of having to reach over that whole table, and I'm so old now, I don't want to be stretched out. Look here, right down in front of me. All I did was move it around. So let's do this. And here it is. I was going to say I lost my flux. Here's the flux. I go back and forth. Ate off the words here. Classic 100 gel flux. And I only put a tiny bit there because I don't want to slop it all over everything. And then I get a little of it, just a little bit on the edge of the brush. Just go right here. And then I find a place to stop, like about right there. Just that little bit right there is more than enough. Now this has been here for untouched, I'd say at least 3 weeks. Let's get us a... Now we want to be careful here because we got a little piece of glass right there. Let's go down here and fix this back up. Want to be careful here. I don't want to run off into there. We could certainly fix this up a little bit better. Now, I'm not the best solderer there. I've got some, well, I don't know whether I'd call them students or people that follow me, that I'm thinking of 2 or 3 of them that are better solderers than I am. I think I'm a pretty good cutter, glass cutter. Not quite. Now, lead soldering, that's another program. I can lead solder. That's, if I was going to claim some fame in this particular craft, it would be lead work and lead solder. For some reason, boy, that's my ticket. I love that stuff. Ooh. Oh, heck, we could go clear back over here. We'll just get it all. Now, this has been down a month. And so, see, the reason I'm mentioning that is because I have a whole bunch of people. Ooh, they'll come after me. Oh, yeah. And then some guy got, oh, man, about, I don't know, a week or 2 ago, some guy came on there and said, you know, that flux is going to run down through there and ruin the copper foil on the other side of where I'm at right now. I said, well, you know, I appreciate what you're saying, but I've not found that to be the case. And I've been doing this for quite a little while. And he comes back and he said, well, it's a mistake. And I thought, oh, I don't know why. I wouldn't. And I mentioned at the time, this is the second time I've said something about this. But why would you go? Man, I can look at people's stuff and see something that I think is not right. But I'll tell you one thing. If they didn't ask me, do you see something that I need to improve on the piece that I'm working on? I wouldn't say a word, because that's not what they... Now, if they put something on Facebook and say, hey, will you guys look this over and tell me what you think? I generally don't even do that because you're jumping in there with 35 other people and they all have an opinion. And but if they come, people send me stuff on Messenger and ask questions, well then, heck yeah, I'll help you. And I don't think I got any flux up here. I think I got it there. But just to go on somebody's page and start ripping them, sometimes I think, well, people just want to fight. And I'm too old to fight, so I just, what do you call it? Word is that? What word? I'm looking for the word I want. I dispatch that kind of stuff. And I had one said, some other thing like that, and came back at me 2 or 3 times. And I said, well, let me fix that. I'll tell you what it was. I remember now. Right. Let me find it. See, this is going over here. Oh, yeah. See this right here? All right. That's one color going over this color. And I had this line here because I didn't want to make this one piece of glass. So this one says, well, how do you know which one is the one that's going over? Well, I said, well, the one that's crossing over, the color that's crossing over this one, She said, well, you have a line there. I said, I didn't want to make this all one piece of glass. I put the line right there. And she circles it and sends me a picture, and she's another one that said, well, it looks like a mistake. And I said, well, let me fix it for you. And now she doesn't have to see it again. I don't know. I don't understand that, man. Just be nice. I mean, if you got, I listen. Constructive criticism, I'm all for it because you learn. But just to come on there and rip somebody, I don't quite understand that. Heck, people rip Taylor Swift. And I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. Anyway, giving away money by the barrels full to everybody and their brother, and truck drivers getting $100,000 bonuses to drive the trucks from one tour place to another. And I think I read there, I don't know, that the dancers and crew and all that stuff ended up with $157 million in bonuses. And I can guarantee they were well paid to start with without the bonus. So, but still, there you can go anywhere you want to go on the internet because she's very popular, and you'll find somebody ripping her. I don't get it, but I don't get money. I think I need about 100 followers to have 14,000 followers, and for 14,000 followers, I don't get much blowback. But we're not on here doing anything controversial. We're just trying to make the tent bigger, bring more people into the craft, help the people that are here. Learn myself. Heck, I'm trying to learn. I keep moving that, trying to get it more or less uniform. Boy, silver schnit iron is a screaming motor scooter. This thing, it will stay hot. See, the blue light's on. That means, oh, look at that. Well, that's not going to cause me a problem, but I don't like that when that happens. And you know the best thing to do with that? Nothing. Now I'm going to see if that lifts up, and I don't think it'll lift up because it's on this foil. Ooh. You fool around with stuff like this and you tear that foil. There, and we managed to get that one out of there without tearing anything up. Generally, the smart thing is to just wait till you put this other piece of glass in and use it. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I clean these up. And there's controversy on everything. So somebody says, oh, you just shouldn't clean it with this or that. Geez, all I can tell you to do is go look at my portfolio of the pieces, one right after another. And then, you know, I just wouldn't do it if it didn't work. Okay, where are we at? We got to clean this. I've just got a used paper towel here. That's just a little old window cleaner of some kind. I think that's that bulk stuff you can buy at Sam's. And somebody says, oh, you're going to put that on there and then you're not going to be able to get the patina to work right. Well, haven't had that trouble either. So anything you see me do has been road tested. All I'm doing right now is just cleaning this up so I don't get it all over my hands. This thing's moving around a little bit here. I was anxious to, oh, you know, we didn't. Yeah, let's do this here. They won't have it done. We'll have it, oh, that's another thing, yeah. I'm just taking for granted. I do the finish soldering on these, and I'll tell you why. Users say, why not? But anyway, the reason I do is because I seem to do better. No flux. I seem to do better if I just do smaller areas at a time, rather than when I get this whole thing done, which is the normal way to do it, then I got to solder the whole thing, and I just get burned out, and then you start going a little faster than you should go. And in this way that I'm doing this, I usually just do a little at a time. Consequently, I end up with a better job. That's just me. You know, you can certainly, heck, anybody can do this any way they want to. Okay. I'm just in here cleaning this up. Well, I'm real happy with this so far. Oh, I know one thing. If I get these colors right, I'm going to have a real special piece. There's a rip. Look at there. That's not... Somebody might have seen me come across there and not get that done. Well, the whole thing, where we are now, is that it's completely soldered up to where we are. You can't put another piece of glass in it. Well, the next piece of glass in it would take some solder, but now what I'll do, I mentioned what I was going to be next, but I think I went too far. What I'm going to do is come up with this color here. And whatever I come up with, I'll put that in, and then I have to figure out what I'm going to do with these vines, what color that's going to be. So what'll happen is I'll do all this experimentation on the border of the cross color, the vine color, and this interior color, all down here to get that all figured out. Then that, of course, transfer up to the other part of it. I'm probably not going to mess with this stuff until I get like right up here. I'm going to come to here. So we're going to come up the center right here and then stop. And then come back and start working this outside area here. And, oh, you know, I just thought of something. I wouldn't do here. Here's something I'm going to back up. I probably wouldn't finish this section here or this until I lay this in. Because this stuff's hard to work with. And the piece that you actually cut, it's got to be all ring saw here because you're working on drapery glass. So this piece here might not actually be that exact fit right there. It might be down that way a little bit. Well, if you've already cut all this stuff, and then you don't get a good cut on your ring saw here, where you're too much this way. If you were too much this way and you already had this one laid down, you got trouble. You'd have to grind it out of here. So you would come up near, you know, what I want to say is I'd probably set this part in here first before we cruise on to the rest of it. I'm starting to think it might be smart. I'm thinking out loud here, so I'm changing my mind as I go. If I come up here and get to right here, that means I leave these two out and this out before here. Come here and build this in. Come here and build that in. Then I've got the sides for the rows and the sides for the rows. That'd be the smart way. Then, once you have the rows in, then bring this stuff to it. Anyway, that gets a little bit, you know, strange in here because you have to take this is a whole, if this was just regular glass, I don't have a problem. But because I got to get on the ring saw to cut this stuff, then there can be a little bit of variance in what I actually end up with versus what the cartoon dictates. So we'll play that by ear when we get up here. I think this is going to get real interesting because we'll start right here and go that direction. And we could figure this out. Put that in. Oh, I'm sorry for beating on you there. All right. Well, what is it here? It's a little after 5 o'clock. I'm not going to do any more thinking on this thing right now. And in the morning, I'll go at it to try to figure these colors out. Once I got to get this color and these two colors here. Once I get them figured out, we're rolling. And this, got to look for some glass for this stem. You know, the stem on roses is green. Got to think about all that. I got some really gorgeous greens to make these roses out of. All right. Oh, this is getting so exciting now. This is, I've worked real hard to get to here because this is the fun part. The cutting gets much more challenging, which is fun. And the color selection is where we're going to make this piece and create something that's going to be, you know, really special. All right. Well, that's all I have right now. I hope you've picked up I don't think I did any tips on this thing, but picked up a little bit of the method to the madness here and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm glad so many of you are along for this build. This has been so much fun, and it's just going to get better. Okay. Well, thanks a lot.